you know, you need to adapt, you know. When you move from country to younger country, we have a different culture, different tradition, you know. But we have to adapt, right? Like if you go to the state of New York, right? They have and you move to the Florida, different regulation, right? Different tax, everything. So you have to adapt, you know.
So we also talked to your daughter Hannah.
Yeah.
How do you feel like your kids, since they were so young during the war, how do you feel that the war affected them as children?
I think the war affect a little bit because you know, at age like Hannah, at age 10, she had to move from Vietnam to United States, so a lot of different culture, right? And like Elizabeth, she moved from Vietnam to United States about 8-year-old, and the older about a 5-year-old, you know. But it's affect, but sometimes it's good for them, you know, right?
What do you mean it's good for them? Can you elaborate on that?
It's a good thing because they have open mind. They know different culture, right? So you know the different tradition. Some tradition is good, some is not good, you know. But at least they have a choice, right? Open the mind and see different and they can compare, right?
All my privilege thing that I used to have in Vietnam is gone. Our big home, our, you know, multiple home, like in the beach and everything. It's like, there's nothing. So now you go into public school, I've never, it's totally different experience. Like, okay, now go public school, you actually have to clean up after yourself. You know, there's like this whole adjustment that from my family to my father, my mother, like, we live a very, very privileged life. Like, I have a drive, you know, it's like nothing. Even you get to a point where before I leave Vietnam, like people brush my hair, brush my teeth, you know, up to that age. So it was like a very different, it's like total change for us when we came here.
Can you describe how people were treating you during this time period when you came here?
You know, because when we were one of the first that, because of our family, we were able, some people stay in the camp for a long, long time, right? Before they get out. For us, we only stay for I think like 2 weeks. You know, some people just get stuck there and we already get out because of, you know, our connection, our family. So I was one of the first few that, because I remember we left Vietnam in April, right? And so by then, as soon as I arrived to the United States, it's like, I think like May, and right away, my family believed in education. So I was like going to a public school right away. I mean, I only got like a month because it was important for us to go in there to learn how to speak English. You know what I mean? Like go in. So it was like, so that that time people would know about the war, so they know. So it was somewhat nice, but a lot of the kid was kind of like, they pick on you. So I have like, I think my first week or second week, I got into a fight right away. It was crazy, but you know, I mean, I think that's just part of it. You're different, you don't speak the language as well, and I speak more French because I went to all-girls school, French school. I went to Couvent des Oiseaux, so like, I understand everything they say, but I can't, I mean a lot of it, but I can't speak it because, you know, so it was kind of challenging. And you know, first, you know, they don't know you, you know, and then we went to San Francisco, but still, you know, the kids kind of like didn't understand the war too, because some love the war, some hate the war. So some people feel that the war has caused a lot of pain for, you know, United States as well, for the people, because Black people lose a lot of their life too, in Vietnam. So so some people were very nice, a lot of kids were really nice to me, but a lot of them was kind of pick on you. And I think, you know, yeah, you just kind of learned that.
How did you feel your family dynamic was affected by living in Vietnam, being in war, having your dad fighting?
Well, I think, you know, I mean, for us, my father and my grandfather, it was really difficult for them because of, you know, their position. They believe, of course, they're fighting, they were against the communism. They believe that that's not good for the country and for Vietnam to really grow and to be, you know, that structure would work. So that's why they fight. So they take it very hard. So when they came to the United States, it's very hard for them to adjust to. So it's the woman, the family that kind of like hold everybody together. You know, like my grandmother, my mom, kind of like, okay, well, what do we do? So, you know, that's why we started our restaurant. And there's a side story to how we start the restaurant too. So I don't know if you want to hear that story.
Yes, tell us, please.
Well, you know, back then, even before the war, my grandmother was very entrepreneur. She, even at that time in Vietnam, that's like for women to travel, that's big. So my grandmother loved that. She's kind of tired of being like a great social housewife because she's part of a royalty family. But so she told my grandfather, you know, you enjoy life, you stay here, you know, enjoy, you know, because my grandfather's kind of, you know, Mr. Casanova at the same time. So I kind of, I'm going to leave. So then she went and she get to San Francisco. She loved it. She find that there's a lot of liberal, you know, San Francisco in the 60s, is on the late early 70s, very liberal woman, you know. My grandmother loved that because she lived such a constrained life. So then she wanted to stay in the United States. And the way to stay in the United States, you have to have a business. So she then invests herself, you know. She talked to an Italian man, buy a little deli in 46 in Judah. And then, you know, after she bought that, she called my grandfather and said, you know, I'm leaving. I mean, like, you know, you stay enjoy. I'm going to stay here. I'm not going to come back to Vietnam for a while and have a business here. Because she loved the United States. She wanted to be able to travel. Of course, my grandfather doesn't let her. So 4 years go by, nothing happened. She went back to Vietnam, back and forth. Nothing happened that state. But when we lost the war in 1975, we went to Camp Pendleton. So what do we do now? So now when we get out of the camp, what we have left was that little business that she kind of got it like 4 years ago, and she left one of her maids to kind of run it for her to go back and forth. So that is where we begin. So from there we started, yeah. Well, this is my belief, is that I think, you know, I mean, whatever decision was made by United Nations or the, you know, the power country, that I think Vietnam should have been abandoned. That's just my belief. I think, you know, I think we should continue to fight, and I think we could have won, but I think it was more like some, you know, it's already been decided. So I really believe that, because I think the economy would definitely benefit United States as well if Vietnam was not a communist. Because actually, if you look at Vietnam history, for thousand years, that where we at is very strategically important for, you know, just for everything. That's why there's all this country all want to fight us and take over. First, it was the Chinese. For 1,000 years, we're under the Chinese domination, right? The Chinese, and then the French, and then the Japanese. So I wish that, you know, I think economically, strategically, for United States, if we have, you know, support Vietnam, I think it would be very great for us. But I think, no, I mean, so that's just my belief, but who knows?
How do you feel that being raised during a time of war has impacted how you've raised your children?
Definitely. I think seeing that, I realized that, you know, you can be born into a wealthy family, you know, but you cannot take life for granted, because you can have things like this and the next moment you got to know what happened. You can lose it all. Like, we have property, we have bank, we have so much, but like when the war, you lost everything. So what people can take from you is what you learn up here and what you believe in yourself. You know what I mean? So you got to work really hard. So I do teach them that. I don't know, you know, I don't know if they got all that values or not, but I do, because I see that firsthand. I see, you know, how I never thought that I have to work. Like, you know what I mean? Because you just see all that. I would thought that I would take over my family business or just have all this property. Why even worry about working? You know, I can travel anywhere I want, you know? You never think of that. So that's why I always teach my children that you got to learn. People cannot take away is your integrity and your humility, and, you know, you have to be very perseverant. You cannot give up. Got to work really hard.
Do you miss living in Vietnam at all, or do you have
Sometimes I hate to have a homesick too. Yeah. But I'm happy here because I have a lot of friends too, a new friend from the United States and my old friend from Vietnam, my relative too. But sometimes in Vietnam I still have some relative, right? Some friends. So sometimes I hate to homesick, right? But that's okay. Yeah.
Do you go back to visit? When was the last time you were in Vietnam?
Oh, about 3 years ago, I went back. I went back here.
What was it like going back, Korea? Did it bring up any feelings?
When I left Vietnam about 35 years ago, right? So the city and the people is different. The mentality is different. When you come after over 50 years, you see a difference. Right? You don't have the same feeling like the before, like the 50 years before. You know. Yeah. If I have no one, maybe I am retired, right? Like everybody retired, right? And still living in Vietnam with So I think not too much different,
There was no war. I think that I may be the spoiled brat. That's what I think, because I truly, at that time, like if there was no war, we were still in Vietnam and, maybe going back and forth, then I think I look life a little bit differently. I don't think I appreciate it as much because it's hard to describe until you really go through it. And you see what you lost and you see all the people that's kind of like it's getting hurt in front of you and how you're so lucky you being just, and why people like get panic and crying, want to go, and here you are, you just sit, like you don't appreciate that until you're actually in it, And I think, we learned that you can lose, anything can happen to you. I mean, you think about what happened in Japan right now. It's like you may have this beautiful home and your business successful, tsunami hit. Okay, then what happened? And I think, you got to live it to really feel it. I mean, that's going to be stories, just like the story I tell you about my friend. I mean, I can feel it, but it's never be the same what she go through. And I think I'm very fortunate. I think I'm one of millions. I'm one in the million of what happened to people in Vietnam. Like we are very, very lucky. I'm one of the few. There's a lot of people that's got a lot worse. So we're lucky. We may have lost everything, but we are very, very lucky. That's what my mom and dad say. Look, and I say that too. It's very lucky. And I told my kids too. You are very, very lucky.